Well, guys, it may seem like we win, and we did have a big win. The executive order that was signed yesterday was huge. It changes everything. It's not over yet, but we're going to discuss what this executive order means. Some people think that all he did was sign something that was already a law. Kind of true, but not really, and I will explain why. Well, guys, it's raining outside here in Mariana, Florida, but it's just a quick storm to pass us through. But it is still a beautiful day in America. In fact, America's always beautiful somewhere. But we got the executive order that we needed passed by the president. He signed the order himself. That means it's not going to be trumped. And I know his name's Trump, but I would have said that no matter what the president's name was. Anyway, but let's talk about what it actually means. So I got my information from a few places, but mostly from a FreightWaves article that came out. I'm not going to read the article. I will put it down below if you want to read it, but let's actually discuss what this means. A lot of people say, hey, this law has always been in effect. Not really. It has. It's been in effect forever. I can almost quote the law, but it's actually the first law in qualifications. Actually, I think the first one is something like must be able to drive a truck. And then number 2 is must be able to read, write, and speak English fluently to communicate. But in 2016, Obama didn't abolish the law, because you can't abolish the law. That's a whole thing. He just put another law into effect to make it not get enforced. So the FMCSA then had to put out a memorandum to tell people to not put anybody out of service as long as they can communicate in some way. That means phone translators. Okay, but that means that they can't read English. Yeah, a phone translator, okay, I don't mind communicating with somebody like that. I actually did it the one time at, there was a TA and the mechanic did not speak good enough English. He spoke some, but he was still learning it. That's okay, he's a mechanic. You know what I mean? He has the time to translate. What are you supposed to do? You're driving down the road, right lane ends at home. Let me type this in the phone, which is probably what they're doing anyway. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. And it's not just non-domicile drivers doing that. But so what this law did was basically overturn. It reiterated the original law and added some to it. So now, not only, it basically says now it is an out-of-service violation. You need to be put out of service. The FMCSA says, well, apparently at the time, the CSVA, whatever, didn't realize that it would have such a safety impact. They're now acknowledging that this has created a horrible safety impact. And yeah, it's whole thing's ridiculous, but it's okay. Let's just move on. But yes, this overrides that. It also says that you must now, you're going to have to pass a literacy test, an English literacy test. Basically, you're going to have to prove that you can speak English. Read, write, and speak English. I don't even care if they can write English as long as they can read it. But, so what? Yeah, what does that mean? Does that mean everybody's going to have to take a test? Well, maybe, but if you're fluent in English, is that really a problem? But our signs are in English. Everything around us is in English. And this is just huge. However, the problem isn't fixed. So I believe one of the biggest driving forces, if not the biggest driving force behind this, was the ATU, the American Truckers United. And they had started with their Arkansas law, and they just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And they are a small organization. I don't mean that as far as members. I don't even know what the membership is right now. But as far as them being run, it's pretty much 2 guys and then a whole bunch of people that have come into support since then. Started it, Harvey and Shannon. And I did get to talk to Shannon today a little bit. I called up to congratulate on the win. And he basically said, I said, what do we do from here? He said, keep going, keep pushing. The law went into effect, and you know, really, this isn't a direct quote, I'm just kind of summing up what he said. You know, the law went into effect, but this is now day one of the law, and nothing's changed. You wouldn't expect it to. I'm not bashing the government because nothing changed. He's saying nothing changed yet. We need to make sure, you know, that they keep their eye on the ball. Still continue to contact, you know, any kind of representative you have, anything now. Make sure that this law is going to be enforced. Make sure that the state, you know, they know it on the state level that this has to be enforced now, and the local township level. I talked to a good friend of mine that's a local township cop, but he's actually their motor vehicle guy, who's somebody I trust with my life. I've known him, you know, 3/4 of my life. I hate to tell you how far back it goes. Yeah, it is 3/4 of my life I've known him. And I you know, I trust him with my life, and he is ecstatic about it. And I think the DOT cops everywhere are ecstatic about it. Let's get back to what's important. Yeah, we need to stay on top of it, but it was still a big win. You know, thank you to everybody involved. If you're not already signed up with the American Truckers United, they are going to keep going. They're going to keep pushing, and they do memberships. All you're doing is signing up for an email list. They're not going to sell your email to anybody. They do take donations, but it's not required. That's up to you. But they are going to keep moving forward with this, and then, you know, there's other issues in the industry that they tackle, but this has been their focus. Like, it's this, and we thank them for that. Anyway, just wanted to put this quick video out there, you know, about what to expect from this. I really think we're going to see some big changes. This is what I was hoping for, but quite frankly, government's got a lot going on, and they're talking about, you know, going through all levels of government and getting to Trump. And those of you that sent out the letters to Sean Duffy, there was a lot of letters went out to Sean Duffy, an open letter that was supposed to go to him, and you know, he directly has the president's ear, and just that quick, you know what I mean? We are, you know, 4 months into a presidency. I think you're, yeah, I think we're exactly 4 months into the presidency. Yeah, a little bit over, a couple days, and the executive order was signed. I thought it would take a year or two till it got that high. I wasn't even sure if this was an issue that everybody knew about, but apparently it is as big of an issue as we as truck drivers think. So thank you, truck drivers that kept fighting for it. Thank you, everybody that was fighting for this. It's a big win, but, you know, keep fighting. Let's make our roads safe again. You know, let's do it in the name of the 5 people in Houston and so many others. The man in Colorado, the 2 in Missouri. I mean, I could keep doing this and keep doing this. You know, do it in their names. Remember them, and do it for your family, because they're driving on the roads too. So, thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the video. Got some more stuff coming out. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. And comment. I do read all the comments. Yeah, even from the trolls, but I read all the comments. And if you don't want to, if you want to email me directly, you can at finchresources@gmail.com. And you can also find me on Facebook, yeah, Facebook, Instagram, Substack, yeah, what's the other, TikTok, under the Trucking Resources name. So thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you on the next one.